Hi, I'm Lisa,
And I'm Ray.
and you're listening to.
This Midlife Hustle.
In today's episode, it's all about me and the hair industry.
Well, at least your part of the hair industry.
My part, yeah.
Yeah, last week we talked a lot about me and what I'm doing, and I am working on my candle business.
Yep.
I'm losing sleep at night thinking about all these weird things,
You sure are.
like what wicks to select and how I want my brand to look and vessels and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about this week.
Nope.
We're talking about you and your hair business.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting. I'm going to call it hair business. We're not really going to get into a salon. This episode might be useful to independent, booth renters or stylists looking to elevate their career to know what kind of advanced hairstylist would do.
Yeah.
In your case, and I consider you that.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
I think most people who've seen your work would
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
This is kind of undisputable.
Yeah.
I've been spending a lot of time helping you with the business side of things, but let's just walk our listeners through this journey. It's all in the context of you redefining yourself in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We sold the salon in Maryland.
Yes.
And one of the first things we did, we talked another episode about how we almost lost $250,000 on a salon purchase. We really did consider a lot of options that included things like purchasing another commercial real estate property or leasing and opening up another business again.
Yep.
Let's talk about that a little. I don't want to do most of the talking here. I want you to share your experience there.
Yeah.
Tell me, why did we end up not doing that? Or maybe you want to go through some of the thought process there.
The reason why I didn't want to, I went back and forth, if you can remember. I went back and forth about doing it. The pros and cons, we talked about it. The first space that we almost leased, I was still not sure because we were so new in Florida still. Like we were only 2 years in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And we still had like 5 years of the lease left. And for us to open up a business here and still have 5 years there where I would have to still travel.
Yeah, that would have really been burning the candle at both ends.
I don't think I would. There's no way I would survive that.
Well,
and I considered it though. We considered it. I considered it.
Thank God that didn't work out, because then all the little medical issues that came up with you
my God,
and with me,
I know,
it would have been.
It would have been disastrous.
Yeah.
I think we would have been, oh my God, in so much trouble financially, like so much trouble, I think. Now, would I push through? Yes, especially with Alexa's help. I think we would have pushed through and tried to get through the next 5 years of doing both. But at the end of the day, I'm really, really happy that a simple little thing that triggered both of us over painting the space, and the landlord would not paint it.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, it just triggered us. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, in hindsight.
And I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
Right. So that was one of the early lease properties. Then we thought long and hard about, we really did try to find a commercial real estate that we can purchase. I still, if we were able to find the right situation, I would have loved to do that, because that's more than just a business. That would have been an investment as well. Like that money we spent would be ours.
Yeah.
And when we were ready to get out of the game, we would have choices to either sell that real estate or become landlords ourselves and rent it out.
Yeah.
I liked that idea a lot, but this market here in Central Florida is a little crazy. Like even
right now, it's really crazy.
Yeah, but even these little properties that were like converted houses in commercial districts that when we first moved here were going for maybe like 300,000 are going for like 500, 600, 700,000 now.
Like, I've seen $1 million now.
Yeah, but God bless the people who fell into that kind of luck where they can actually get that from the market. But not me. I'm not doing that,
No. With the Florida market booming right now, even though they're saying like there's some crisis coming, but I really don't think it's going up and up and up and up and up and up. Because sometimes I do dabble and look to see what's out there. And it's like something that I saw like literally last year is now $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah, and it makes me a little uncomfortable, because it feels a little, maybe this won't be the case, but it feels a little bit inflated, and like you jump in thinking that if you buy in at that, like the next person will always just pay more, but that's not always the case. These bubbles happen and then a crash.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's the whole commercial real estate part of that. That would have made sense.
Yeah.
Then we considered, all right, what if we just lease a space again and do a whole build out again? But I remember, like, to do a build out to the quality level that you and I would expect when it's our name on the brand, it's going to cost like $200,000. I know people get away with only spending like 50, 60.
Yeah.
But with the material costs that went up after COVID, and I know last time we did this, between equipment and the build out itself, don't get me wrong, if I remember the numbers right, the build out alone was somewhere around 100,000 after all expenses.
Mm-hmm.
The construction phase itself, I think, was only 80, but then little miscellaneous stuff adds up. And then the equipment side of that, I think, was something like 60 to 80. the main equipment purchase was about 80,000, and then you have all these little miscellaneous supplies and all that. It would cost a good probably 2 to 250,000, and I don't think we'd see it back.
No, I don't. No, I don't think we would.
Yeah.
And also, I'm in a headspace that I don't want those headaches anymore.
You don't want the long-term commitment either, right? Like if you spend that kind of money, you really do have to be committed to at least a 5-year game plan, if not something like a 10-year game plan to recover that investment.
Yeah. And now that I'm in Florida full time, my perspective changed if I want to be a business owner out here or not, like a space, because
well, let's talk about that a little later. I would argue you're still a business owner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You still have to treat what you're doing as a business, but we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
I want to get into that a little bit. I think too often stylists, especially 1099 stylists who are really independent contractors, are not treating themselves enough like a business, and they should be. But we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
I guess that the thing is that it's that long-term responsibility was one of the problems that you had, which I agree with. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find another opportunity where you can still like establish your own brand and build a following of people and not have to worry about, recovering hundreds of thousands of dollars of an investment and not have to worry about being locked into a long-term contract, God forbid something were to happen in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. And you convinced me of that. I get gung-ho sometimes. I really enjoyed building that company, Tough Love Salon.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And we, established something that was unique in the area, and customers loved it and appreciated it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you were the heart and soul of that business. I really just supported the back end and I did the marketing and stuff, but you were the heart and soul of it. And one of the other things, as far as like business criteria that you convinced me of, and we talked about this in one of our other episodes, it was nearly impossible to find good employees in the long term.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we did have some people who worked out for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were people that you were willing to pour yourself into, to teach them everything you know. And they really didn't fully embrace that and take it on.
No.
And so they weren't as successful as you, and they totally could have been.
Like I said in one of the other episodes, I mean, I even showed them my paycheck.
Right.
And that's in a 3-day span. My paycheck in the 3-day span. And I told them.
And you were willing to help them get there, but they just weren't.
They weren't committed.
Yeah. So based on that, it's like anything else we do that is a bigger scale, like we've learned already, like that is the magic. It's going to be super difficult to find those people. And then you don't know, like you can pour yourself into them and then like, thanks. And they check out and goodbye.
Yep.
Right. And then it didn't help you at all either, which you can't blame them. And it's an independent market. You teach somebody and they move on.
Yeah.
So like after having been through all that, then I totally get why you kind of want to just be on your own and focus again. It's lower stress.
It's lower stress.
There's still a lot you have to do and you're responsible for as this kind of independent business operator. Yep. But it just takes all the stress down a notch.
A couple notches.
Yeah.
A couple notches. Yeah, it's
and you're in complete control of your experience and the quality and all that. You don't have to worry about all that nonsense.
I don't have to worry about, yes, I do have to worry about paying rent and still. But I don't have to worry about
your cost of goods. And,
the cost of goods. Am I making enough to cover
pricing? Yeah.
It's just
marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it this way better.
Yeah. So you'll still have all those. So this was a little bit of that decision-making process.
Yep.
So you decided and you kind of led the way there. I kept telling you like this, I can have discussions with you, but this is your career and your business. You have to take the lead on this.
Yep.
And you did. And you started looking, this led you down the path of let me consider booth rental or see what else I can find, some independent shops in the area. One of the things we debated a little bit is location though. Let's just talk about that before we talk about the next part where you started searching. In our area, there's a couple towns that have more affluent people and they're willing to spend more on services like this.
Yeah.
Now, I only say that because you are an upper end stylist and kind of demand more money for your skills. And if you're in an area where people can't afford that, then you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And I get it. There's no blaming people who are in that situation.
Right.
It's not about that. It's about like for this to be worth it for you, somebody who's skilled at this and can do things that other people can't do, can achieve results other people can't achieve. beautiful blends and blonding that doesn't damage hair, and the perfect tone without orange or green highlights, or that type, unless you want them. All these things, these beautiful, we basically transform people's hair like a work of art. You need to be paid for that.
Yeah, the transition of location and stuff like that it was a big thing for us, because it is Florida. It's snowbirds. We have to find the right demographic that wants good hair year round versus just, I'm retired, I don't care about my hair.
I can't afford that much.
I'm living on a retirement check now.
I do think once you get going, there will be a market for you, though, even for those types of people. Because one of the things you were really good at, even in Severna Park location, was people who are like, look, I'm retired, my hair's going gray, I can't afford to keep on spending all this money on hair color. What can you suggest? And you would show them a transition into a gray that was beautiful. And they didn't have to, yes, they had to spend some money with you periodically, like maybe once every 6 months, they'd have to spend a decent amount. And then the rest of the year was just maintenance and cuts and keeping things tight.
Toners, yeah. And they appreciated that. They really did. I mean, I still saw those clients.
And they were beautiful. Those grays were beautiful.
Yeah. The gray transitions that I do are stunning.
Yeah.
I mean, they're absolutely stunning.
So I think you'll have a market for folks like that as well.
Yeah.
But you bring up the transition from Maryland. The reason you bring that up and tying it into what I was talking about is we were having trouble finding areas down here that had the same demographics of professional women who had that. But notice, we were paying attention to that. We're not just let me go do my hair services wherever, right?
Yeah.
This is a business. Yeah. You have to consider your demographics.
Yeah. I have been actually looking for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find the right place in Florida.
Well, there's
the way
little pockets.
I do it. Yeah.
That's the problem, is there's little pockets. And we live a little bit out off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Not far, but far enough that most customers may find it annoying. We're 45 minutes away. Now, I know that you're going to pull in people from Orlando and some of these other markets that are like, oh my God, she's amazing. It's worth the 40-minute drive. Right?
Yeah.
I go 45 minutes to an hour from my doctor down here.
I know. Yeah.
So you will find those customers as well. But the vast majority of people are going to look for some place that's at least no more than 30 minutes away from where they live.
Right.
And since we live a little bit off the beaten path, that could be a challenge. The good news is this area is expanding. That's number one. Number two, and to pull this into what I was trying to get to, is we debated a little bit about whether you should go and travel into one of these areas. But then what we were finding is your rent is more expensive also.
Rent is more expensive, the drive, the gas.
And then just the personal frustration of being that far away.
Yeah.
You can't just hop in a car if somebody's like, hey, I got a hair emergency, or I have a wedding coming up, or something went wrong. You loved to being able to not that you loved it in the sense of dealing with a hair emergency, but if it was a trusted client or somebody you had a good relationship with.
Yeah, if it was a trusted client, I had a lot of them in Maryland. They were nurses or doctors. They could only do it 6 a.m. Okay. That's how you gain trust.
Yeah.
And
or somebody who's spending thousands of dollars with you a year says, hey, I went to, I know you told me not to, but I went to a party and went in the pool and my hair turned green, but I have I have a vacation coming up and I can't travel with green hair.
Yeah.
Right? Can you help me out? Point being is you need to be able to be in somewhat close proximity to your place of work as well.
Yeah.
That'll just contribute to your overall mental health and stuff,
And I was willing to travel that hour, but man, it was
every single day, back and forth. It would have been a grind.
Yeah.
Right now you're closer.
And you can't run in Florida. You cannot run late. If you get into, no, you cannot run late.
You're talking about I-4.
I-4. Oh my God.
Yeah. There's what's happening.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What's happening in Florida for our listeners who don't know is, especially in Central Florida, we're just south of Orlando where all the touristy stuff happens, not just Disney, but lots of other forms of entertainment. And there's a lot of developments happening as there's this influx of people to Florida. And I think the critical flaw is that they're approving these developments, but then not improving the infrastructure, all the roads. So the roads are just getting overwhelmed.
Gummed up. Oh my God. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, what takes 15 minutes is taking 35, 40.
On a clear, you're saying on a clear day.
On a clear day when it's not tour season, yada, yada. I'm getting to know the times
and the areas to avoid.
And the areas to avoid. So that recently that took, I took that into consideration as well.
Right. So putting this all together, demographics were important, but so was your commute.
Yeah.
And I think we settled on, let's first try to be in Kissimmee or the closely surrounding area, because the demographics of this area currently aren't awesome. They're not horrible either.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be on the rise as more people who are settling into the area are coming in and, spending money in the area. And, there's more working professionals and professional women who would appreciate your services.
Yeah. Yep.
So you started a search.
Yes.
Tell me how that looked.
I started a search. First we went with like salon suites, and salon suites are great, but I'm one that needs a window. I'm one that I get my clients social with each other. I do multiple clients at the same time, depending on the service. If one's processing, I can do a couple of haircuts in that one client's process.
Which basically doubles your earning income, by the way.
Yeah. And when, you're interviewing these salon suites and, I think that's the key. I'm sorry if I'm bouncing around, but I think that's the key difference. I interview everybody, no matter if it's a salon suite or a personal salon that I'm going to be renting out of. It's really important that you do that.
Yeah. Actually, pro tip for our listeners. This is true in any career. When you go to a job, that interview should be two ways. You're interviewing them and they're interviewing you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be stressed about like, oh my God, am I going to pass muster with this person? They should be also equally concerned. Like,
am I going to am I going to get along with these people?
Right.
Am I going to, jive with this company? So that's a big thing for me. I did like one of the suites that we visited. I visited, and then I was like, yeah, I can make this work, especially because it's kind of in a prime location inside the building. It was near the door, but then things went south, almost like it trickled south, and then all of a sudden it just went down.
There was an avalanche.
It was an avalanche. And I do a lot of, like Brazilian blowouts, and I can't have my door open. I do multiple clients. I can't have more than one. What was the other one?
I was not impressed with the quality of the space for a commercial space.
Yeah.
It was like they wanted to have this nice facade, but then as soon as you went inside the shell of the facade, it was like substandard. So they wanted to have an elite facade so they can charge top dollar, but then they weren't willing to follow through with maintaining that elite quality internally.
There's like holes in the wall. There was like discoloration, and the walls are textured walls out here in Florida, and if you don't paint them the right way, it's kind of like you can see the lines. It's almost like highlighting.
It's like lumpy.
If you don't like highlight properly, you're gonna see different
It's ironic
lines.
because the reason why one of the reasons why a lot of these homes, and there's two popular things, it's called knockdown. One is called knockdown, like these ceilings is called knockdown. That's where they spray the plaster and then they knock it down with a spatula. Like the walls here is called orange peel, where they just kind of spray, right?
Yeah.
Not the whole reason. One of the reasons they do this is because repair is easier because you don't have to worry about a perfect surface like what we're used to in upstate New York or something, right?
But you gotta know what you're doing.
Well, that's the thing is like it can actually be more difficult to repair properly if you don't know what you're doing, because you can't just like spatula it over it and then sand it out smooth and paint over it and be done.
Right.
Which almost never works. That is a skill in of itself, because it's really hard to do that without having lines and lumps also.
Yeah.
The whole advantage of this textured wall here is like you can just feather off those lumps and like smooth it out after it dries and then paint it, and it's really hard to tell to the eye. But they're not even doing that. They're just coming along on a texture surface, hitting up the holes quickly with a spatula, painting over it. And what's that look? It looks like crap. It looks horrible.
And the amount of money they want.
Yeah, if you want to charge elite prices, you better maintain your elite quality.
Yeah.
That's true in any business.
Any business, yeah.
And
absolutely.
so that's why that didn't work out.
Yeah. Yep. So that just turned me off yet again off of the whole suite.
Yeah, the idea of salon suites.
Salon suites. It really, really did.
The one thing that you did like there, and this will come into play about your selection making process a little later, is they didn't have a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
Most salon suites even have like a 1 or 2 year commitment contract you have to sign.
Yeah.
And the most appealing thing about that, it was in an area where the demographics were good and it had a nice look to the plaza and all that. So you could have established your elite brand. We already talked about how they didn't maintain the elite quality internally, but they also didn't have long-term commitments on their contract.
Right.
So we could have made it work is what you were thinking. If it only...
We could, yeah.
Now, the final thing I'll just mention, just because it was kind of not funny to anybody listening necessarily, but like this person who was responsible for maintaining that site was it was such a weird mood and weird vibe. Like, it's like she hated her job.
Yeah. And she kept bringing up, I have this allergy, door has to stay closed. I have this allergy. Then you need to be out of this job.
Like I'm only a manager here. If the town shuts off the water, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, it's your job to help resolve this. You have a salon suite with over 20 people renting whose income has been affected. You don't think it's fair for them to be upset that you're not doing anything to resolve a situation that's affecting all of their income?
Yeah. It was quite an eye opener.
Because she's not the owner.
Yeah.
She's somebody the owner hired, and it sounds like she's frustrated with being the middleman.
Right.
So that turned me off as well.
Yeah.
There's no customer service. She hated her job.
Yeah.
Hated the stylists.
Yep. And hated the work they were doing because it smelled so bad.
Yep.
So then I went into the mode of, okay, let me find a salon that I can rent out of. That took a little while. Because, calling, interviewing, driving by the space, driving by. So yeah, so it was hard. And then I found one that I was like, oh, okay, this is upscale. Maybe a little bit more my vibe.
Well, let me just interrupt you for a second. I will say that over the years, I haven't really been a fan of this model. I know it's out there, and especially
I know
as a business owner, I hate it.
I know.
But also, I hated it for you because it's always a weird, it's hard to get just right, I'll say.
Yeah.
You've done it a few times, and to your credit, you've found good situations in the past. When we lived in the upstate New York area, you finally found a salon that it worked out well for you.
Yep.
It felt like family type of thing. But most of them, it's like they want to treat you like a 1099 employee so that they don't have to pay you a salary and stuff, but they don't want to really give up the control that they're supposed to legally give up to be a 1099 employee. They can't tell you how to do things.
Right.
They can't tell you, hours you can work. They have to give you keys of the facility.
Yep.
And then, and it's nice to work with people who you get along with. You're about to establish your brand within their facilities.
Yeah.
And if you're just renting a chair, and then somebody else, like if they start behaving in ways that you don't want people to behave in front of your clients, you have no control over that.
Mm-mm.
And so I've never really liked this idea of doing it.
That's why it's really important to interview.
I know, but it's just, I'm just telling our listeners because this is a great example. We do kind of play off each other well and listen to each other's advice. And I have my strengths and weaknesses, and so do you.
Yeah.
This is an area where, like, if it was up to me, I would never consider it because it just seems so daunting and impossible. And every time I've said that in multiple markets, through tenacity and research and, waiting until it felt just right and finding the perfect situation, you ended up finding one again. But yeah, so go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. But.
Oh, no. So I found one and I was kind of really happy and actually I found two, but this one, I was pretty happy about it. But then once I got into more detailed questions, it's like, yeah, you'll have keys, but you have to work X, Y, and Z. Okay. And
you didn't feel like educating them on the law, right?
Yeah. Because it was just, so I just went in with other questions that I know it was going to be like, well. And it's kind of sad because I thought that one would have been it. But once she started talking more and more, and then the second phone call, I talked to a male, and it was just way too, I want to say, snooty. They wanted it one way. Even though you're renting and you're paying them rent, no.
Oh, this sounds like the classic case. Like, this is exactly, as a business owner, this sounds like the classic case that we were talking about all the time. Some owners try to impose their will on people who are renting from them.
Yeah.
And legally, you can't do that.
You can't do
that.
Like,
really, the IRS can find them guilty of fraud, tax fraud, by way of treating people like employees when they're 1099.
I had to use their product and sell their product. And I'm like, no. No, again, I'm renting from you.
Right.
You have no
I'm running
say
a business at your facility.
Yeah.
What does your opinion and your products and your stuff have to do anything with me?
Yeah. It was, So forget it. It was, I had to dress a certain way. No, I'm renting. Like, it was just too much. So that was a no after like maybe 3 phone calls. And then I found another one, which is literally right down the road from us. Again, I was thinking, I've put our community into consideration. Like, there's a lot of people in here. If you guys are familiar with the Nextdoor app, it's an app that, your neighbors kind of go in there and they're having a hard time finding a salon to go to.
They're having a hard time finding a salon that offers the high quality and specialty services like you offer.
Yeah.
They're going to this local person just because she's a member of our community as well and opened up a salon, but she opened a salon that's more like a hair cuttery quality.
Yeah.
Which no offense to hair cuttery. They give young stylists a great opportunity, but they're not known for being the best of the best.
Right.
You get lucky sometimes.
Yeah, you do. You get lucky sometimes, but yeah. So I contacted them and I kid you not, I think the price changed 4 or 5 times as to what the rent was.
Oh, and you never told me that. Is that right?
Yeah.
So she didn't know what she was doing, really.
She didn't know what she was doing. And then on top of it all, I was like, okay, let me try to make this work because they have really good reviews. Let me try to make this work, yada, yada.
They have really good reviews, but their prices are so in the floor, like base dirt cheap. Like I don't know how she's making money.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was too much of a competition over there. It was just, at the end of the day, it was just a way too much of a competition because she brought up other things. And then I just called a few others in like other little towns, like little clusters. They're not busy enough. Their ratings are not the greatest. And then I stopped looking. And then we were doing the whole FBA. Is that how I'm saying it right?
Yeah, that's right.
The FBA thing.
Amazon FBA.
And I was like, all right, let me try this. It's still in the hair industry. Let me just try this and yada, yada. But I'm missing doing hair. And I'm like, and so I told you.
Yeah, your Amazon FBA journey isn't over.
It's not over.
You've always said hair is your main thing. Yeah. So like, and this is your main career. Just like I can't just quit my job to do some of the side hustle stuff.
Right.
I'm not going to make the money I make doing any of the side hustle stuff. I need to have my main career.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. This is your career. It just so happens that you need this kind of like business that you are in the business of hair basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm really good at it and I'm really successful at it. And I just want to make what I was making in Maryland, but in Florida, but not having our own space, if that makes sense.
So that's you resetting your career in Florida without all the overhead. So I'm excited about that for you. That will be a big win for our overall financial, health. And that's part of what this podcast is about, is our overall financial health and trying to pursue financial independence. And this will certainly help for that. And then once you're reestablished, you can, or in parallel, you can start thinking about this Amazon FBA idea because I think it is unique, but it's going to take a little bit more research.
Yeah. So the last and final salon that I saw potential, I don't know how. And this advertisement came on my personal Instagram, not my hair page. And I don't know how it got there, but it got there. And because my regular page is nothing but family and vacation photos and stuff like that. My hair page is my hair page. So I don't have no idea how it got up on my regular page. And so I was like, oh my God, this looks really cute. And it's a salon. I don't even know how many chairs she has in there or rooms, but it's a pretty decent size.
I didn't realize you saw that through a Facebook ad.
Instagram.
Oh, Instagram. An ad or a posting?
A posting.
Oh, so not even an ad.
Not
just
even an
random,
ad. Just a random posting that came through my feed, which I literally don't know how it got there.
Kudos to Instagram.
I know, right? To like maybe accidentally.
The algorithm knows you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know like sometimes I'll accidentally like search something hair wise on my regular page. Maybe that's how it is. But like you said, the algorithm, I was like, oh my God, this is really cute. And I'm like, oh my God, it looks like a suite, like another Sola salon or something like that. Clicked on it. I'm like, okay, this is a private salon, but this looks really good. This is too good to be true. And so I called, talked to her for literally maybe 15 minutes. I already got a good vibe. The conversation went well. Set up a time to go see it. Went to go see it. And I was like, okay, like this is it. I have to make this work. This is where I want to work. Like you just know. I go by a lot of feelings. I go by attitude. I go by atmosphere. And then I also go by interviewing people and talking to the stylists that are in there as well. I mean, it was literally like.
So check marks across the board.
Across the board. And this is like an entire room. It has 2 stations, 2 chairs, 2 wash units, a beautiful window that lets natural light in. It's spacious for a spacious closet. It's spacious for my coffee, like how we use like a mini Tough Love, except it's not going to be called Tough Love, in this little space. And she keeps the salon up well. She's not a stylist.
And you're going to have basically you're going to have a free receptionist.
Two free receptionists, a towel girl, which if you're a stylist, you know, when you're busy, those towels are the last thing on your mind, but you need them kind of thing. Towel service. I mean, it is amazing. It was amazing that I fell upon this. Like God was answering my prayers because I had been praying, like, please show me which way to go about this because I didn't know if I should give up or if I should just try something new.
Yeah, I think there's so much good there. I think the jury's out on the whole demographics aspect. So what she's charging, I think is okay given all the services she's providing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a particularly like good deal necessarily because of the area and the demographics.
Right.
But I'm hopeful that in our marketing and once people see what you're doing, and we'll be able to pull in the people who are looking for your types of services, and then it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
But it's not really expensive either.
No.
So I think they're priced just about right. You know?
I'm excited. It's across the biggest college in Florida is across from it.
College people don't have any money though.
Yeah.
The professors maybe.
Right. There's brand new homes going up on one side of the road. It's off of a main stretch, but it's not on the main stretch. Easy to find. My GPS, took me right there. On a good day, 20 minutes from home. 22 minutes, in fact, from home. On a traffic day, 32 minutes. 32 to 35 minutes.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad. The people were amazing. Like literally family.
That's important because every day you go to work, you're going to enjoy.
It is so important.
There. Yeah.
And I'm renting this entire room for what I think is a decent price. And I'm going to be happy. I don't know. It's just the salon is just happy.
I think if you told me right, she's involved with the Chamber of Commerce. So she understands not only business, but she completely understood the whole 1099 thing where you are basically renting a space from her and you have all rights.
She told me, she's like, you have keys and you come in here. You want to work on when the salon's closed, you go ahead. And it was so cute because she was like, but you won't have the receptionist. You won't have the towel service. So it's like, she's like, you can work whenever you want, but those benefits are not going to be at your service because
perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah. So I am extremely, extremely excited. Now, and this is the first time in a long time, other than the very first place that I rented in Maryland. Remember, we went. You didn't even know about it. I came home in Maryland and was like, I'm renting here. It was almost kind of the same thing. I came home and I was like, I'm renting this. I didn't even worry about money. I didn't worry about demographics. It's just, I just need a peaceful, happy, non-drama place to work out of. And I know I'll get clients in. Heck, like in Maryland, I had people coming from North Carolina, South Carolina, Baltimore, DC.
Italy?
Italy. No joke. Italy. Yeah. She was a client of mine before her husband got deployed. He came back to Maryland and she came back to me. I have a client in Florida. She lives in Florida, which is just amazing. She's going to be my first client. She lives in Florida and she traveled to Maryland for me to get her hair done. So I'm not worried about clientele. I think I just need models because all of my clientele and my photos are based out of Maryland.
Yeah.
So
that'll come though. Yeah. It's interesting. In me trying to help you over the years with the business side of things, I think we're finally in a place where I know how to help you with marketing and business backend, and you are comfortable and know you're going to knock it out of the park. Your confidence level wasn't always that high.
No.
But you're at the point now where like you can literally be like, yeah, I know I will be successful. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And then I come along and I've learned a lot about digital marketing when I worked for an ad company and things like this. And I've helped reduce that time basically to success. Like most people, it takes 6 months or so to have success. I don't know, you might not even have your first clients in the first couple months. And even with the last experiment in Maryland, I was able to get you were kind of fully booked within 3 months or so.
I was fully booked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do your magic and then I do my magic behind the chair and we gel really, really well.
It's like I always said, I can help drive clients to you, but unless you knock it out of the park, they're not going to stay.
They're not going to stay. Right.
So I've become good at getting people to you and you've become really good at making sure that you're keeping them and having good client retention.
Yeah. We really work well as a team. We have a lot of clients that ask, how do you do it? Because when COVID hit, my clients could not deal with their husbands, but we work really,
they were
really
forced
well.
to be together and they couldn't take it.
They couldn't take it. We work really, really well together.
Hey, since you brought that up, I don't want to go too far off the path here, but like I thought I heard that there was some research on like divorces rising during COVID. Did you hear this
I had
behind the chair?
Solid maybe 10 to 12 clients get divorced.
Wow.
Yeah. It was one of those things that, I understand. I mean, I get it. I can see it day in, day out. You're working, you're not together full time.
And then you're forced to be in the same proximity to each other. And you're like, hey, wait a minute. I don't actually like this person.
Right. And it was funny because I would hear stories like, my kids don't even know who their dad is because dad was never around. It's always mom, mama. It was sad to hear, but it was shocking to hear because if we're not together, I don't know. I mean, we're just great.
It helps that we like to be around one another.
Yeah, we like to be around each other a lot. And the thing is like,
we're truly in love. I mean, the love has always like brought us back, even when we had arguments and disagreements.
Yeah. And we've had a few. We've had doozies.
Yeah.
We've had doozies, but it always comes back around to we really do love each other. We understand each other. We're passionate people. And I think that's
we're both willing to work on our relationship and work on ourselves and each other. Yeah.
We're babies of the family. Yeah. And we're passionate, stubborn human beings, but yet
that's all valid.
We work well together.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so yeah, go ahead.
But I'm extremely happy with this situation. I came home, I called you, but you were on a work call. I'm just like, this is it, and this is it until I retire.
Yeah. So this, and you kind of asked for my advice, looked through it. Everything looked good to me. Like all the things that you said looked good. It looks like a good, solid business plan from this perspective of treating it like a business, right? Yeah. I mean, you've got all the conveniences. One way of looking at it is you're going to be able to have all the conveniences of renting your own salon and establishing your own brand without the long-term commitment.
Yep.
And in just smaller scale, like kind of like all the best of all the things that you've been evaluating, all wrapped into one little bundle with a bunch of people that you're excited to be working with. Yeah. So I think it looks great all around.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about like treating it like a business. I think we may be almost out of time for this episode.
I know. It might be a part 2.
I know you got to run to the airport as well.
Yeah.
But just in regards to treating it like a business, I went into action like making sure you have your Google Maps set up, looking at your salon booking software, which I think Vagaro you used to use. And
I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it.
But they've come a long way. Like what I was worried about is they would stagnate because other platforms have been introducing a lot of features. They haven't stagnated. They've actually gotten better than some of the other platforms even so good for small folks. So anyways, get your online booking set up, get your brand established basically out there. Like get your website set up.
Yep.
Working on your social media and
you're doing you.
Yeah.
For me.
But I'm doing all this because I know it takes time to get all that stuff out in the interwebs.
Yeah.
Basically Google has to discover the website.
Yeah.
Has to start indexing it.
Yeah.
We have to start getting ranked searches and stuff. I put an advertisement out last night on some of the key themes that I know have worked for us before in other markets and the type of clients you're trying to attract. Do you know that thing is already catching quite a bit of interest? So much so that I'm worried about the fact that the phone number port hasn't done yet. I set up
no.
Yeah, because I've got the ad out there. So Google, after I got everything set up, they offered me $1,000 in ad credits if you spend $1,500. I know that's a lot of money, but when you're brand new in an area, you do need to spend some money on marketing like that. So we are going to spend $1,500 in marketing in the next 3 months. And if you spend $1,500 in marketing, Google will give you $1,000 ad credit. So we're going to spend $1,500 and then we're going to have another $1,000 for free. And so that will carry your marketing in for the next like 6 months or so.
Yeah. Oh my God. I put a feeler out in the Nextdoor app and all of a sudden then this influx of women and I was like, oh shit, maybe I should
because they saw your Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing is I think you were onto something here. It was like classic unserved community, right?
Yeah.
These people live like us off the beaten path.
Yep.
They're willing to travel into Orlando and these other places and can't find somebody who's doing the type of services you're doing.
Yeah.
Everybody does hair. It's like I always tell people, like anybody can walk into a paint store. I can buy a canvas. I can buy some paints and brushes. But how many of those people can actually create a masterful work of art?
Right.
Not many.
Right.
Anybody can go buy some hair dye and scissors.
Right.
But who can use those in such a skillful way to create a work of art?
Right.
Not many.
Right.
And then when they see your work versus other people's work, like, wow, this is amazing. You should have to go to like New York City for
I know.
for work like this, right?
I
And
know.
so you've always tried to charge a reasonable price for your services that is like kind of approachable for most people, but on the upper end. There are people out there who just charge a lot and don't even provide, they don't deliver on the promise, you know?
Right.
You always are sensitive to that. And I think you're going to find a good following down here.
I really do
They're
think
coming
so.
out the woodwork. I mean,
Yeah.
already, I'm just saying, like that ad we ran, we know the types of things people are looking for. That's the key. I'm not going to spill the beans on our business secrets here, but we know the types of things from being in business for so long and you listening to your clients that are going to resonate with clients.
Yeah.
And based on that, we ran some ads and they're picking up a lot of attention already, which means there's a community of people doing searches for those things and having trouble finding them. Same thing with the Nextdoor app. You put a feeler out there and you thought you're going to get 1 or 2 people that maybe can do some grassroots.
I thought I was going to get 1, 2 or nothing. And it's like,
and there's this outpouring.
Yeah.
So you're going to connect with the community down here. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Especially, once they start walking around with my hair on their head.
Yep. And then people say like, who did that?
Who did that? Actually, she's in our community.
Right.
Actually, she works, whatever.
Yeah. So I'm excited about your future. I don't think there's any reason for you to feel guilty about the Amazon FBA thing right now. This is as much business to us as anything. It's part of our whole portfolio.
Yeah.
This is your career. This is how you make money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to say that we're still helping each other out in that avenue. Like I'm helping you.
Going to help me pour some candles?
Maybe. As long as I can have some in my salon.
I have proof. I have evidence that you said maybe.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
But, I'm still helping you out. And now you're helping me not with my idea for the FBA, but with me starting my hair career out in Florida all over again. And that's really important to me. So I thank you for that because you do your magic and it is pure magic. And then I just knock it out of the park.
Of course. Well, thank you for that.
But yeah, so you're still doing yours, but I feel bad because you didn't put a halt on it, but like in between that 5 minutes.
I did. I spent an entire 2 days fixated on making sure, because the thing is, it's like baking a cake. Like you need to get it in.
Yeah.
So that there's I say baking a cake, it's like a time penalty. Like it's something that can't happen instantly. You have to do the work and then let it sit.
Yeah.
And this is advertising is a lot like that. And like getting your website set up, it like takes time for all the indexing to happen. It takes time for people to connect. It takes time for all the like Google and Bing and all these different services and maps to be caught up. So I wanted to make sure I got it in so that you have maximum chance for success. You know?
Yeah. So that is the journey for right now.
Yeah, I'm excited about this for you.
Yeah,
This is,
too.
I'm as excited about this for you as anything, because this, I know, like there's no doubt in my mind that you're turning this into money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this will be turned into money. I know that. I mean, we've done it how many times? Wait, let's see. I mean, this is our 5th time restarting. No, 6th time if you count New York restarting. And it only takes me 6 months and I'm up and running. And then I go into a full-on work mode.
I think it's funny that you still use 6 months as the guide, because that's what most people say in the industry. And early in your career, that was probably true. Maybe one of the times in a smaller community, it even took you maybe closer to a year until you had a full book. But that hasn't been true in the last couple attempts of this journey. Like even times when I wasn't all that great at my digital marketing and all that, I don't know what the magic is. I know what the magic is. You're awesome at what you do, and the word spreads quickly. That's the magic. But like, it has never been 6 months for you, and you always plan on 6 months.
I always put in my head 6 months. I give myself 6 months, but it's more like 3-ish, 2.
Let's see let's challenge ourselves. Let's see if we can get it down to 2 months before you're fully booked.
Challenge taken.
All right.
Yeah.
I got the marketing engine going. So if you need, you may need to start answering the phone on vacation. That's all.
Yep. Yeah. That's about it.
We need the Vagaro up so you can start booking people. We need to be moving.
I know, because I am not doing the whole paper thing. That's too much.
Yeah,
that's too much.
No.
So yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this this update and this episode on Lisa's journey. Next week, we'll get back to give you kind of a little rundown on what I've been doing lately and some more of the analysis around there. Maybe a couple more weeks, we'll start getting into topics about like how we're running certain things in our personal finances, some decisions we made there as well.
Yeah. Yep.
How we're organizing.
Yeah.
But that's it for this episode.
And if you enjoyed the topic today, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.
Thank you.